I'm Jen Sui. I'm a health and life coach empowering women to break through their fears, be confident in their authentic self, and create thriving relationships along the way. This is the Find Your Freedom podcast. Hi friends, welcome back to the Find Your Freedom podcast. Today we are going to be talking all about how to stop complaining and create solutions instead. So I'm going to be building upon some ideas from earlier this week. If you haven't listened to the last podcast on self-pity versus self-compassion, I highly recommend going to go give it a listen so that you can kind of create these more defined pictures in your head where you're listening to this of what does it look like to be in self-pity, to always be in this complaining energy, and instead move your way out of this victimhood and victim mentality to be a creator instead and get yourself out of this, to be able to be compassionate and to improve your life. I'm also going to be sharing with you my favorite mental reframe tool, which is the model, and I'll share with you more on what that is. But if you don't know what mental reframing is, it's essentially a way to build more resiliency into your life, and resiliency is that ability to bounce back, to overcome adversity, all these things, and be stronger from it, right? So mental reframes basically helps you rethink a situation that you're in and the circumstance you're in, and instead of thinking that you were a victim to it or that you have no control over it, that life is terrible, life sucks, whatever, it's actually reframing it and telling yourself a different story in a way that actually allows you to take back control of your life and to see things from a different perspective, that you can grow and that you can change, and that nothing is permanent here, that there is another option for you to go about life if you so choose to do so. So let's talk a little bit about complaining first, because I think complaining gets a really bad rep, and also I don't know if that's 100% true, but at the same time, I also hate complaining. I do it all the time. Well, I guess I used to do it all the time. I'm a lot more cautious of it now, and I really work on not complaining. And I want to put out there kind of a disclaimer that complaining can be a form of grief, and that we need to allow ourselves space to grieve. But complaining energy versus a healing energy that comes from grief is a little bit different, where when we complain, we're basically saying, boo-hoo, poor me, life sucks, there's nothing I can do with it, everything is shitty, and it's very pessimistic. Versus when you're in a healing, grieving energy, it's more of a why is this happening, and why is this happening to me? And this is, it can also be a victim mentality thing, right? But there can be some healing towards that when you question what is happening, when you actually approach it from a point of curiosity, and that complaining energy can transform by helping you see solutions for yourself. So I want to just provide that distinction, because both aren't super helpful or super pleasant to go through, but there is a whole spectrum of what complaining might be. So I want you to use your own discernment here to see how you can stop complaining in a way that is not serving you, and reframe those thoughts so that you can actually create solutions. Okay, so let's get into it. I want to start with victim mentality. This victim mentality is the way that we see things and how we use blame makes it so that we have an external locus of control, which basically means that everything happens to us. The world is the way that it is, and the things that other people do is the reason why we do what we do. So there's almost this diffusion of responsibility of all of the results that you've created in your life, or failures that you've created in your life, and it's this idea that this is not because of me, it's because of other people. And it's problematic because it also makes it so that any successes that we have also are not because of us. Maybe you suffer from imposter syndrome, where you think you're never good enough, or how are these people just going to figure things out? And I think that these two are correlated, because when you have an external locus of control, it's your success was created as a fluke. It was because other people, you tricked other people into thinking that they're good enough, or they just gave you, like, they threw you a bone and just gave you a chance at this one job maybe, right? And it's not really you that did it. Like, you have not acclimated to your own success. You don't take it personally, because that internal locus of control, which is the opposite of you believing that you have control over your situation, over your life, and that you can create these different results and choose how to react to things, right? Like, that is not there, or it's a lot weaker than your external locus of control. So the way that we can see victim mentality coming through on a subconscious and conscious level is how we can use blame. And the thoughts that we have where we blame ourselves or blame other people, like, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I don't know enough, like, why is this happening to me? This sucks, all these things. And also blaming other people, like, they're so mean to me, why are they doing this to me? Why is my boss giving me so much work? Why is society like this? And whatever it is, right? The way that we diffuse the blame kind of gives us an insight into where we see ourselves as a victim to our own circumstances. So I think the clearest way to see this is through the Karpman drama triangle. Most people are not familiar with this. I just learned about this a few years ago, and I thought it was really helpful. And the Karpman drama triangle basically breaks down how drama is created. And you can see this in TV shows and movies and books and stories and all this stuff of, like, there's this person who's like a bully or persecutor, like, which is one side of it, who creates a victim. And this person is the person who's taking all this shit from the bully or persecutor, and then this victim is, like, helpless and whatever, and they need a rescuer, so this hero to, like, come save them, and this, like, they are the one who has all this answer. They're a savior to them, right? You need my help, right? And so this triangle creates a fuck ton of drama, honestly, and it's really mind-boggling, because oftentimes we actually see ourselves as saviors of others. I think a lot of times people think that they are this helper, that they're, like, the counselor of the friend group. I mean, I am guilty of saying that. I used to think that all the time. And what's interesting is that when you ask people, if you, like, define this out, right, where this persecutor is critical, they put other people down, they blame and finger point other people, and, you know, maybe they're really angry and resentful all the time, they're bossy, and then the rescuer is this person who's always, like, you know, wants to support and, you know, might feel guilty or anxious if they are not supporting this person or not coming to the rescue of other people. They maybe even think that they're an empath, and that the way that they're empathetic is they're always trying to help and rescue people, right? A lot of people think that they're this rescuer. And the issue with the rescuer is that in order to rescue people, there has to be a victim. And I think a lot of rescuer type people, if you identify with that, tend to also be victims, right? Victims in other ways, where, for example, if you think you say that you're empath, because I don't want to say, like, you're thinking you're wrong, right? If you consider yourself an empath, if you identify with that, someone who feels really deeply for other people's emotions, and you overextend yourself to help, right? You are not sleeping because you're staying up late, texting your friends, making sure they're okay, talking to people. Maybe you're going into relationships and, you know, they're kind of broken and you feel like it's okay, like, I'm gonna fix you, like, I can help you and all this stuff, right? And you're overextending yourself, always being for them, all this stuff. I think it also creates this victim mentality in yourself where you're just like, I don't have time, I don't have energy for myself, like, oh, boo-hoo, poor me, like, life sucks, like, why is the world so mean to me, like, I don't have any time for myself, boo-hoo, right? I think it creates that victim energy in us when we want to be these saviors, when we believe that other people need our help, and that these people are not capable of helping themselves, and we need to be the one to go rescue them. Right? There's a problem there. And the funny thing is that all three of these people have to exist in order for drama to happen, right? There has to be a persecutor or a bully. And I think sometimes this can be life situations also, just like a circumstance can be seen as a persecutor. And then it creates this victim and rescuer relationship and the way that we see persecutors or bullies as well. So people in this victim mentality are going to think like, oh, poor me, I give up, I'm not okay. They feel oppressed, they feel hopeless, they feel ashamed. They don't feel like they have any power to control their lives. They feel like they are unable to. They don't feel like they have literally like the abilities, the skill sets to do anything. They feel misunderstood by others. It's like these people are the problem, not me. And they try to find a rescuer or a savior to hold on to so that they can validate this victim's feelings, where the savior is being like, yeah, you're right, life does suck, or like this person is wrong, like they suck, like no, you're totally right, you're not the problem here, they're the problem. And you can see how that dynamic makes it so that nobody grows. You literally just stay a victim if you keep thinking like it's always the other person's problem. And I know I said like you can also blame yourself and that can create victim mentality, and I think that plays out a little bit differently, but let's just stick with this, right? The victim is, when you play the victim card, you're basically seeing yourself as like helpless, and there is another added feeling of refusal to make decisions, to solve problems, to like trust yourself in solving problems even, and getting professional help or making the changes necessary to grow. I see this a lot in people who are stressed. Like I have come across clients who are so clearly in a victim mentality, and I'm saying this as like a coach from like a third perspective, where the things that they say and the things that they do, it's like they're always complaining about how life sucks, about how they're tired from their job, how they like, you know, just all these things happen to them, how their boss is like a certain way, how these kids are a certain way and whatever, and it's just like, oh, life sucks so bad, and like it's, you don't even want to know how bad I have it, right? And there's like not even room to create any change there, and like any suggestion that you might try to give them, they just brush off as like, yeah, but like whatever, like yeah, but like I don't want to, yeah, but like, you know, but this is still gonna happen, and like life still sucks. And that refusal to actually change is what keeps somebody a victim and keeps them helpless, because they don't see like there is a solution. And this is also why this drama cycle of, you can try to be a savior, you can try to help all these people who are quote unquote victims, but you can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. That's not true help. True help actually evokes this motivation and inspiration in the person who you're trying to help so that they can change their lives. If you think helping people means like they need you in order to make a change, like you are not actually helping the person, you're creating more victims in the world. So here is the antithesis, right? The antithesis to the drama triangle of how to stop it is to change this idea of a persecutor to being a challenger. And you can even throw life in there as a challenger, where instead of life being so hard and like they're making things hard for you, like life is making hard for you to be yourself and to do what you want, to have the job that you want, to have the relationship that you want. Like dating is just hard, right? Like this is the problem, like society's the problem, right? Instead of thinking it like they're bullying you into being a victim and to be helpless, think of it like a challenge, right? Now it's presenting a different energy, where a challenge you can overcome. A challenge or obstacle in the way is something that you can learn and create tools and resources and create options to get over. And the antithesis of the victim is actually a creator. It is someone who can actually problem solve, to take action and to take back control in their life, to actually ask themselves like, okay, this sucks, but what can I do about it, right? It's like, oh, I'm so tired from my job that drains me all the time and the people in here suck. And you can end it like that and just be a victim, right? Or you can ask yourself, but what do I want to do about it? How can I change the way that I show up? How can I improve the relationships that I have with these people? How can I find a different job? How can I create my own job, right? It's this added thing of like, so what, right? Okay, so what that this happened? So what that this is the situation that you're in? What are you going to do about it? As for the rescuer, this savior, instead of trying to be this person who saves everyone, you are now going to become a coach. And as you can hear from me, and I am a life coach, I used to once be a savior. I once used to be the rescuer type. Like, I had so many toxic failed relationships because I was trying to, like, quote unquote fix them. I was trying to quote unquote save them. And they were playing this victim card of like, I need you in my life, right? And even friends who were like this before in the past, like in high school, where it was almost like it's like they pity themselves and like, oh, they have so much misfortune. They need somebody to just validate their feelings and just validate like, yeah, life sucks for you. Like, that's not helpful. Okay. So like I said, I was in those positions and I was also the victim many, many, many times. And now I'm a coach. And you know what I do as a coach is I push you out of your freaking comfort zone. I support you, like with clear support that actually makes it so you create your solutions, so that you get yourself out of these positions. I ask you the questions because and drive you to action because I know you're capable of more, right? Like, I care about your growth. I want you to not need me, and if you at all feel like you need me to change your life, like, I don't really want to work with you. I'm sorry. I love you still, but work on that first. I'm not here to save you. I'm here because you are good enough. You have all the answers that you need in yourself, but you just need a guide. You just need somebody to evoke that out of you through listening, and to provide choices for you, to give you different perspectives on life so that you can actually go and make those choices for yourselves, right? Because you are the one who can save yourself from whatever situation, because now you are able to create solutions to your own problems. All right, and now everything that comes after that, any challenge that comes out of it, it's not that you're a victim to whatever happens to you, it's that it's another challenge that you have to overcome. Okay. That was a very long explanation of the Karpman drama triangle, and I hope you understood how this can work in the ways of, like, if you are feeling like you're tired, that life sucks, that you're in a relationship that you don't like, or you really want to be in a relationship and you're just obsessing over people who ghosted you, or you're trying to lose weight and you just can't lose weight, and you can't stop eating. Why am I like this? Like, I can't stick to a diet or do these workouts. I'm so lazy. Right? Like, I don't have the time to meal prep. I have so much work to do. I don't have the time or the energy to do this because my family demands all this stuff of me, right? Boo-hoo. Like, I can't do this. Why me? All those thoughts are total fucking bullshit. And I'm so tired of it. I am. And like I said, I still can catch myself in that way of thinking. So it's not like you are wrong or whatever. I'm just saying, if you're telling yourself that you want to change, if you're telling yourself that you want a better life and that you want help and that you actually want to, do all these things, like create these better habits where you're meditating in the morning and you're meal prepping every week and that you're going to the gym and whatever, if you actually want to do that shit, you have to get past your own thinking and your own mind drama of I can't because that's bullshit, right? That's the victim of like, I can't because I don't know how. I can't because I don't have the time. I can't because this person needs this from me. And my job is just so demanding. Like, okay, cool. You and everyone and their grandmother too. But what are you going to do about it? It's the whole add-on, so what though, right? I have all these things, but this is what I'm going to do. I have this, but so what? You're going to figure it out anyways. You're going to have your own back anyways. You're just going to not take it personally. You're going to just have the circumstance independent belief of so what. This brings me to the mental reframe tool that I love using, and this is like a big basis of my coaching, called the model. Then the model was created by the Life Coach School and its founder, Brooke Castillo. Highly recommend looking her up, highly looking up her podcast, the Life Coach School podcast. It's incredible. It's really game-changing. But she created the model, which is this. In life, you go through circumstances. So those circumstances trigger thoughts. Your thoughts create feelings, and your feelings drive your actions, and your actions create results. Those results are then evidence for your thoughts, and it creates a cycle. So the way that this model works is that a circumstance is a neutral, verifiable, kind of like no bullshit, dry bone way of seeing a situation. It's completely objective, okay? And then that you have zero control over. Like, you truly have zero control over that situation, and that's just a fact. The other four things of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, results, those are all within your control. Sometimes our results become a circumstance, and there's different ways that that can play out. But I think when that happens, we like to view our results as like they're biased results, like they still have feelings in them. For example, I'm really busy at work this week, right? People think that that's the circumstance. Like, I'm just really busy at work. This week is really busy. And it's not, because that is your view on it. It's not that this is a really busy week for you. It's that, okay, the dry bone version of that is you have Zoom meetings Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. without any breaks. Like with like back to back, zero time in between, or maybe only 15 minutes in between. Like, those are the verifiable facts, right? Is like you think that the circumstance is that this is a really busy week for you, but in reality the circumstance is like the actual thing that's happening, that's like on your calendar, that is making you think, right? The thought that seeing that your calendar is that it gets triggered is that I have a really busy week this week. Right? Like, this week is awful. Like, I'm so busy, I have no time, right? That is the thought that is created. And then the feeling that creates is probably stress, anxiousness. The thoughts, the feelings that you have are going to be one word, vibrations that you feel in the body, versus the thought you can actually put in quotations, right? It's the actual literal thought that you're having. It's the story that you're telling yourself, so you can put that in quotes. The feeling is that one word vibration of like stress, anxiety, overwhelm, burnout even, right? And what that creates is the actions that you take. For example, because you think you have no time this week, that's really busy, and you're feeling stressed and anxious, you are not taking care of yourself. You're not going to bed on time. You're actually staying way past your bedtime to get work done. You are waking up in the morning and immediately jumping onto your laptop. You are, maybe like if you're working from home still, you're like not even changing out your pajamas and you're like immediately going into work. You're like just making coffee. You're drinking coffee like crazy. You need all this caffeine, and you are really short with your partner, with your roommate. Like, you're really agitated, and so you're not even yourself. You're being really rude, right? All these things can be actions that you're taking. And the result is that you're really unhappy. Like, you're super tired, you're unhappy with everything, like, because you're not taking care of yourself. And, when you don't take care of yourself, what happens is you have the thought again of like, I'm really busy. Like, obviously I don't have time to take care of myself. And you can see how this loop just continues and continues and continues. Notice that the circumstance doesn't change, right? But the thoughts are what keeps you in that loop. And you don't just have one model, right? You have like 4 billion models in your head of like, these are all your different thoughts and like all the different feelings and actions that is created from that. But you can get out of that. You can get out of it by having a different thought, which is, I think, the easiest way to get out of it. I think what creates some challenges sometimes is that people try to change their situations on the action level. And you see this a lot with like weight loss or like weight management. If you want to lose weight, people just go straight to like, okay, I'm going to diet and I'm going to exercise. But their thoughts don't change at all. Their feelings don't change at all. Where like, the circumstance might be you weigh 217 pounds and you are 5'4" and a female. Okay, if that is a circumstance, because that's verifiable, right? There's zero emotions to that. There's no like, the circumstances that I'm heavily overweight and really unhealthy, like, and I hate my body, right? Like, no, those are all thoughts. So if that's the circumstance of like your actual weight and your actual height and whatever, maybe you have a medical condition that you were diagnosed with, right? Those are all the actual circumstances. The thoughts that might create for you is, I need to lose weight because I feel like shit, or like I look terrible, I need to lose weight. And the feeling that creates in your body is maybe shame, it's maybe guilt, it's like anxiousness, franticness, whatever it is. It's really like unpleasant. And then maybe the action that you take is you diet and you go exercise, you try to like go for runs, and you hate cardio, but you're going to do it anyways, right? So what people do is they totally skip past the thinking part of it and like what's actually going on in their mind and in their heart and their feelings about something. And they try to just go tackle this weight loss through brute strength, right? It's like brute discipline. That's all you need, is like more willpower. That's fucking bullshit. Okay, I get so mad about that. It's so unhelpful. Like, there's nothing that can come. It's not willpower. I don't know how many times I need to tell people this. It's not willpower or the discipline that is the issue. It is the thoughts that you have about what you are doing that is the issue. Because obviously, if you hate your body, if you think you have to run because you should run, and that, all these influencers are telling you like this is what you should eat and like this is bad, if that is what is driving you, obviously you're going to feel like shit, right? So again, actions, you're running, you're dieting, you're having less calories, you went keto, I don't care, whatever it is, you're trying all these fad diets. The result is that you're going to be extremely unhappy, you're going to be starving yourself, you're going to feel really hungry, you're going to be really moody, and you're going to like hate life. You're going to feel worse in your body because you're probably going to binge, and that's going to reinforce and create evidence for this thought of, I am really fat, I need to lose weight, I don't feel good in my body, and it creates this loop. Okay, those are two examples of how you have circumstantial thoughts that are negative and unpleasant and unhelpful. The way to get out of that is to have a different thought. So instead of thinking like, I have such a busy week this week, you can think like, I'm going to be really productive this week. Or you can think, I see how I have all these meetings back to back. How can I still keep up my self-care, right? It's this idea of now, instead of being a victim of your circumstance of like, this is just how it's going to be, you're actually thinking like, okay, it looks like I have a really busy week. How am I going to fit in my self-care? How am I going to make sure that I still eat well? Right? And so then it creates a feeling of like motivation, of peace, of like let's fucking go, right? Like I got this. You like feel secure. You feel more grounded. And then the actions that you actually plan for all these activities, maybe you need to meal prep the week before, maybe you're ordering food and you already have food planned out that that make you feel good, that you're going to create. Maybe it's that, asking your boss, like, are these meetings actually necessary for me to be in? Maybe if you're a student, these classes are all actually recorded on Zoom and you decide to go to half of them, like in real time, take a break, go eat some lunch, come back, watch the recordings for the other two, right? Like, those are the actions that you're going to take, which is going to create results of more balance in your life. And that's going to create a habit of you asking yourself, how am I going to fit in my self-care, right? Because you feel good. And that reinforces the idea that the self-care is working for you. So you're going to want to keep doing that more. You're going to continue this thought loop of like, how can I implement my self-care routine, right? Regardless of the situation. Again, this is what I mean by circumstance independent beliefs. These are things that don't have anything to do with your situation. No matter what situation you're in, you're going to have the belief of, how can I implement my self-care routine, right? When I practice self-care, when I work out, when I go for a walk, when I eat these certain foods, it makes me feel better, right? Those are circumstance independent thoughts. They're almost like just truths of your own life. And that is going to be what helps you move past all these challenging situations. in this example of weight loss, if you weigh a certain amount, right, or this certain height, and you have the thought of like, I hate my body, we already know how that's going to end up. But instead, you come at it from a perspective of like, okay, what can I do to make myself feel lighter? And lighter is such a broad term because it can mean emotionally lighter, it can mean like physically lighter, it can mean spiritually lighter, right? It can be creating lightness by reducing your schedule and obligations. It can be lighter because you are taking more time for self-care and actually tending to your heart so that your heart doesn't feel as heavy. And then it can also be coming at a perspective of nutrition, of like what's going to make your body feel lighter and be able to function properly so that when you eat, you actually have energy and that you feel good instead of feeling super sleepy and like groggy and you just want to take a nap, right? So for example, having that thought is going to create feelings of peace, maybe, like there's going to be less stress in your life. It's also probably more motivating or inspiring. It's also coming from a place of love and compassion. So maybe you feel more love towards yourself. And then the actions that you take that come out of that are going to be things that are going to be a little bit more deeper, right? How you're going to make yourself feel lighter, or how are you going to tend to your nutrition today? How are you going to nourish your body, right? If those are the thoughts that you're having of like, okay, I want to nourish my body, I want to prioritize my self-care, I want to prioritize my health, the actions that you're going to take from that and the energy that's going to go into those actions are going to be very different from coming from an energy of hate and of loathing. So the results that you're going to create from choosing to eat lighter meals or choosing to go for walks, hire trainers to get help, professional help, right, to help you reach these goals where you're actually thriving in life, that's going to reinforce this idea of self-care is good for you, that you want to feel lighter, and it's going to be a lot more of a pleasant experience getting to the results that you want to get. All right, friends, so that is pretty much everything that I wanted to touch upon today. I hope that you got a lot of value out of this podcast episode today. I know that we covered a lot and they're pretty deep concepts, so I want you to chew on it a little bit more, especially the model, and see how you can apply it to your own life, right? So you can either write it down: circumstance, thoughts, feelings, actions, results. You can like highlight the circumstance and just make sure again that this is a neutral, verifiable, like would hold up in the court of law type of statement, and then distinguish between like what are your thoughts, feelings, actions, results that are created in that. You can work yourself backwards. Like if you're in a situation where the result is that you weigh a certain weight, right? You can work your way backwards of like, what happened when you got to this point? Or the result might be that you're extremely tired and burnt out, right? How did you get to this point? So by reverse engineering your results and then also reverse engineering your solutions of like, well, how do you want to feel instead? What do you want life to look like instead? What do you want to think instead? Then you can start to chew on it, make changes gradually until you can fully embody that new model into your life. So friends, if you want to do some deeper work in this, if you want another set of eyes on your life and you want to look outside of your blinders, I would love to help you out with that. Please reach out to me on my Instagram @JenSwayHealth or visit my site jensway.com/coaching and sign up for a free coaching consultation. It's going to be 30 minutes. We're going to go over what exactly is the challenge for you right now, where you want to be, and how coaching can serve you. And it's totally zero obligation with it as well. If you decide that this is the way to go, awesome. If we decide that maybe there's a different path that would serve you better, I'm more than happy to give you referrals or point you in those like right directions for you to have a better life, to really get free from all of this resistance and all this complaining energy so that you can create solutions for yourself. Until next time, friends, stay well.